Well, today I'm surrounded by different types of line from Gardner Tackle. If I'm completely honest, I had no idea that there were this many variations of Gardner line available. So this video is going to be just a very quick run through of each of the different types of line that they offer and when you would be using them. There's no point going too much into depth because it will be about an hour long and you guys will get very, very bored. So let's jump into the video, find out exactly what you need to know. I've got braid, I've got fluorocarbon, I've got mono, I've got shock lead, I've got all sorts. So let's jump into it and see what you need to know. So the first one we're going to look at is probably Gardner's flagship range of line, and that is the GTHD. If you haven't used it before, I'm sure you would have heard of it. And I've used it in the past and I'm actually using it again on my longer distance setup because it really is a great all-rounder. It's a low stretch line, which is really useful. We'll come on to benefits in a minute. So it's low stretch, it's got high knot strength, so you know that you're not going to get any kind of breaks at the knot or anything like that. But it's also in decent diameters. So I'll flash up the different breaking strains and the diameters that correspond to them breaking strains on the screen now. But by having kind of fairly thick diameters, it means it's really highly abrasion resistant. So if you are fishing snaggy areas and you're rubbing against tree branches or anything like that, you know there's a good chance of still getting that fish in and the line's not going to part. But going back to the low stretch properties, it's really useful in a couple of ways. Firstly, for filling the bottom. If you just want a quick lead about without having to get out a marker setup, then you can fill a lot on this. Obviously, it's not going to be as low stretch as braid, which has got absolutely no stretch, but I have noticed since I've been using it again, you can feel a lot. So that's really beneficial in that way. But the other thing, when you're fishing longer distances, obviously it gives you better bite indication because you haven't got loads of stretch if you're fishing 100, 120 yards, something like that, before actually getting any acknowledgement on your bite alarm. So yeah, very, very beneficial in a multitude of different ways. And yeah, this is available in 3 breaking strains, as you've probably seen on the screen. You've got 12, 15 and 18 pounds, so it covers pretty much everything. I've got the 15 on here, which is pretty much the sweet spot between being able to cast a decent distance, but having that really kind of decent abrasion resistance. So yeah, very, very happy with it on there. And it's also available in a tapered setup. Now, we have done a video in the past about this tapered setup, but this is available in 12 and 15 pound, and basically it goes down to 35 pounds. So it's almost like you're using a thicker leader at obviously the rig end, so it's getting nice and pinned down, but you've also got the low diameter on the bulk of the spool for when you're actually casting. So if you're looking for something like that that's a little bit different, that can really work in your favour, then check out the full video that we've done. Should be coming up on the screen somewhere. But yeah, worth pointing out the different options available with this GTHD. We've then got possibly Gardner's best-selling line, and that is the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲+. Now, just like the GTHD, I'm sure you guys would have heard of this one as well. This is also available in a whole load of different breaking strains and diameters. It's a really fast sinking line, and I think the main benefit is just how supple this is. So if you're wanting to fish kind of slack lines, but you don't want to hassle fluorocarbon, then something like this is the perfect go-between. It's still got really decent knot strength. It's got good abrasion resistance. So yeah, it really is a good contender for an all-rounder kind of line. And again, it's available in green and clear. Now, if you're looking for a line that's perfect for snaggy waters, if you're fishing kind of gravelly lakes that have got really sharp bars, then the Hydrotuff is going to be the one to go for. This is Gardner's bulletproof line, and it's available in a whole load of different breaking strains, again, different diameters. Here I've got the 20 pound, which is 0.4, which it is a thick line, but it's still fairly supple as well, and it sinks like an absolute brick. Obviously knot strength is through the roof. Yeah, if you're looking for a line that's going to treat you well in pretty harsh situations, then the Hydrotuff is going to be the one to go for. Now, if you're a little bit more budget friendly, but you're still wanting a decent line, then the Pro range is going to be the one to go for. It's got a bit of everything within the range. As you can see, there's a couple of different colours available. You've got a kind of low vis green, or you've got a lighter one as well. So you've got basically a light and a dark blend. But these really are amazing value for money. Still great lines, still going to sink well, still high knot strength, still high abrasion resistance, but they're not going to break the bank. So these all come in at under about 14 quid for a bulk spool. Again, available in a whole load of different braid constraints. So £10, you actually get over 1,500 meters of line for under 14 quid. So you could probably do about 6 reels for that money, which is ridiculous. So yeah, like I say, there's a few different versions available, different colors, obviously in different braid constraints and different diameters as well. But there's also an XM version, which is the extreme version, which is a 0.4mm. So again, if you're wanting a super tough line, but you don't want to spend over the odds for it, that's the one to go for. Now, luckily, that's not the only option when it comes to kind of more budget-friendly lines. We've also got the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 range, which has actually been designed for sea anglers, but because of its strength and its capabilities, a lot of carp anglers are using this as well. Again, available in a multitude of different braid constraints and different diameters, and even different colours. You might have spied there is a purple version available. Now, each to their own. Some people will love it, some people won't go near it, but it's available and is really popular in Europe. Again, it's a very budget-friendly line, so if you're not sold on the pro lines and you want some, maybe it's just colour preference, you want something either a bit darker or a little bit more out there, then these 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 lines are going to be worth a look as well. We then move on to the fluorocarbon, and one that probably needs no introduction whatsoever is the Tiger line. A lot of you guys will know this, and it's available with both 16 and 20 pound in 200 and 600 meter spools. Originally created by John Llewellyn, and then it's been recently reintroduced by Gardner. And yeah, I've started using it myself. It's a very, very cool line. I've been using the 20 pound version and it sinks like an absolute brick. And to be fair, I haven't found that it casts too bad either. There's a lot of kind of stigma about fluorocarbon that you can't cast it. But even on my short little 9-foot rods, it's been getting to places where I need it to get to. And it's definitely, I have caught fish since using it. Whether that's down to the line or the fact it started warming up a bit, I don't know. But there was a direct correlation of putting the line on and catching fish. Like I say, it sinks like a brick, super, super tough line. And you can feel the weight of it when you pick the rod up, because obviously it's sunk to the bottom. I'm only using little 2-ounce lead, so normally that would just come straight in, but you can feel the weight of it where it's really holding down in the bottom. So yeah, very good line. Like I say, available in different braid constraints and diameters. But there's also Mirage as well, which has obviously been around for a long time too. Now this is available in a lot more different braid constraints, and it's again available in 200 and 600 meter spools. And because of its strength and its just general all-round toughness, you can even use it as a shock leader if you need to. So yeah, that's testament to how tough this line actually is. If you wanted a fluorocarbon that casts a little bit better, then Gardner have got the Mirage Platinum. So again, within the fluorocarbon kind of range of Gardner, there's loads to choose from. But now I've been using that Tiger line, I'm going to find it hard to use anything else if I'm honest. Moving on to some of the different braids which Gardner have. The first one we're going to look at is the Hydrosink Noir. Now, you've probably guessed that it is black in colour, and the idea of this is to match the bottom perfectly. Now, this is a really tough line. It's available in 25 pound, and it's a bit thicker than your conventional braid because it is designed to sink like a brick. It's made from a combination of Dyneema and fluorofibers, and it's actually been regarded as one of the best sinking lines on the market. So if you are looking for a really hard wearing sinking braid, then the Hydrosink Noir is going to be the one to go for. We then move on to Gardner's original sinking braid, which is the Hydrosink braid. And this is available again in 200 or 600 meter bulk spools. And it's not as far sinking as the Noir, but if you're looking for a braid which is still going to sink well, but has a little bit more casting capabilities, then the original Hydrosink is going to be the one to go for. Again, available in a variety of different braid constraints. It does have that flexibility, so you can really pick out the one that you want. But like I say, it's a better casting one, and that's because of the makeup. It's a Dyneema core, but then it's got a Kevlar overwrap and then a Teflon coating. So basically that translates to a better casting braid, but it's still very tough and very fast sinking. We then move on to the Kinetic range of braid from Gardner, and this is 100% Dyneema, so you've got pretty much zero stretch in this. And to give testament to the strength in the higher braid constraints that are available, a lot of cat anglers actually use it. So if it's strong enough to land, big catfish on the continent, it's going to be strong enough for whatever you're going to need. Available in a whole variety of different break constraints, and it's a little bit more affordable as well than some of the others. So if you're still wanting that toughness and all the properties of a good braid, but you're wanting to spend a little bit less, then the Kinetic range is definitely worth looking at. So also in the Kinetic range, there is a Kinetic Distance braid. It's a lot thinner in diameter, obviously, which is going to aid with distance casting. And to put into some context, a 20-pound distance is 0.2 mm, whereas the 20-pound kind of normal Kinetic braid is actually 0.27. So it is quite a bit thinner. It's almost 30% thinner than the standard one. So if distance casting is what you're after, then obviously the distance one is going to be more beneficial to you. And in the right hand, this has been known to cast a baited rig about 180 yards. So yeah, it's a very good braid if you're looking for a distance braid. Obviously it's best used with a shock leader, which is where the Kinetic shock leader comes in. Now these are on 50-meter spools and they are 50-pound breaking strain. So match that with the distance one, you've got a pretty decent braid setup there. Obviously there's other benefits to the shock leader rather than just acting as a shock leader. Because it's 50-pound, because it's higher diameter, it's also a lot harder wearing. Plus you've got a fluorocarbon core, so it does sink like a brick as well. And then last but not least, in the Kinetic range, we have got the Spod and marker braid. Now these are both in 250-meter spools, which is more than enough to top up your Spod and marker reels, but they're slightly different in terms of kind of diameters and their actual capabilities. Obviously the Spod braid is going to be a lot harder wearing because you're going to be putting a lot more load under it. And where it is such a tough braid, you can do away with shock leaders. So Gardner are confident of that, which says a lot for the strength of this braid. Now the marker braid is actually a thinner diameter, and where it is thinner, obviously you feel a lot more. So it really does, it is worth having a separate Spod and marker reel, because they do come into their own by using the right braids on the right sort of setups. Now that's pretty much it. I think I've kind of glossed over all of the range, all of the different lines available. And if you want further information on any of the lines, then head over to the Gardner Tackle website, where you can get all the stats of all of them. Like I said in the intro, didn't want to be going through everything about every single one of them, because I'm sure you'd get very bored unless it's the one that you're interested in. But that is the range. Thanks for watching this video. Like I say, head over to the Gardner website for more information about this, and I'll see you in the next one.